Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we will be solving educational code courses round 157 problem C Ton Lucky Bucket. Okay, pause the video, read the question, then I will explain. Okay, so cool. So in the question, what we are given is question is very straightforward that we will have n tickets. Each ticket have one number. Each ticket have one number. Now, what we'll have to do, we'll have to select two tickets. Like let's say we are selecting two ticket I and J. So if its number is Si and if its number is Sj, then will have one resulted ticket. We have one resulted ticket. Okay, then its number will become Si plus Sj, but this is not numerical operator. This is concatenating operator. So what I have meant by concatenating operator is, let's say if it was something like this 1 to 4 and this 4 to 7, then the number will be 1 to 4, 4 to 7. So consider this something like as a string, that if it was a string and you have added it, it would have resulted in something like this 1 to 4 and 4 to 7. Okay, I hope this part would be clear. Now in the question, we have been it has been mentioned that there is a lucky ticket, or there is some criteria for a ticket to be lucky. And what is that criteria? Length should be even. Length should be even. Okay, length should be even. And the second thing is the sum of first half. Let's say if the length is of 2m, 2m, so the sum of the first m character should be equal to the sum of second half or second m characters. So it will be basically nothing. If you split the string into two half, then the sum of first half should be equal to the second half. If it follows both these condition, then that ticket is a lucky ticket. Now in the question, what we are given is, out of this n tickets, we have to select pairs ij. Now if we are selecting pair ij, then the resultant ticket number will be s of I plus s of j. Okay, we already know how we are going to define s of I plus s of j. Okay, now we need to return the number of pairs such that s of I plus s of ij becomes a lucky ticket. S of I plus S of ij, S of I plus S of j becomes a lucky ticket. So that's what we have to return. Now, few consideration or few important points to be noted down here is ij. If we are selecting pair ij and it's a lucky number, we'll count this. And if we are selecting ji and it's also a lucky number, then again we will count this. That means ij and ji will be two different pairs, not the same one. Okay, that's first thing. And second thing was, we can consider ith with ith itself. So we will be considering that the same ticket can be paired up with itself as well. Okay, I hope question would be clear. Now, so like one thing we can clearly see that if we will take like any ticket, it doesn't matter whether it's of odd length or even length. But if I take AI like ith ticket, then its number will be si, and if I pair up with ith only, then the final ticket number will become si plus si. So basically, eventually, like the overall the length will be 2n. If considering the length of this si was n, then this length will, or let's consider it was m, then it will become 2m. So overall the length will become 2m, that is even. And we know that this si, the sum of the first half will be equal to the sum of the second half, because we are considering the basically the same ticket, right? So in that scenario, we can simply say that the number of pairs, or like each ticket getting pairing up with itself, will result in one lucky ticket. But now, what for the rest? How we are going to calculate it? Yeah, one more important line that mentioned in the question is that the length of each ticket, the length of each ticket number, or basically each ticket number will be at most 5. The length of each ticket number will be at most 5. Okay. Now, how can we use that information? So let's say whenever we are merging I and J ticket, or selecting, let's say whenever we are selecting I and J tickets, for the time being, I am using some characters to denote the digits. Okay, so let's say if my first like ticket, that is si ticket, was of 4 digits abcd, and s of j was something like, it doesn't matter, xyz, something like this. I don't have to care about this. So so we know that at max we can have 5 length for each. Now, instead of randomly selecting, see what I can do. First of all, we can simply run a nested loop. Like we can simply run a nested loop, right? For I less than equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and we can simply put this one s of I, and yeah, sorry, we can run a nested loop. So j is equals to, we wanted to put this ith ticket, we wanted to put this ith ticket first, right? S of I, then we will put the second ticket, right? S of j. So we can also run this s of j, and j is less than n, j plus plus. Okay, and we can simply have our new ticket number, let's say s is equal to s of I plus s of j. We will just do one thing, that we will simply subtract, or like, we can simply ignore the condition. If I is not equal to j, then only we'll check this. For this condition, we can simply add n later. Okay, so for the brute force approach, what we can do is, we can simply make our new ticket number as something like this, and we can check for this number, if like the sum of the first half is equal to sum of the second half, then we can simply increment our answer plus by 1, or we can do answer plus plus. And finally, after this loop is over, we can simply have our answer incremented by n, where n is the total number of tickets. Why we are doing this? Because we can always count I and I, or we can always make a pair of I and I that we were skipping over here. Why were we skipping over there? Because for each I, we would have, or okay, I don't think we need to skip. Okay, cool, sorry, it's my mistake. Even if we want to skip, it will work fine. Okay, it will work fine now. So everything working fine, perfect, no issues. But the n value was of the order 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 5. So overall it will become n square solution, and n square solution won't get accepted. Okay, cool. But now from here, what we have in our mind, or what we can observe, is that we are just adding two values, or in a nutshell, or like more precisely, what we can say is, this si is prefix and this sj is suffix. This is sj. So what I am saying is, this s of I is acting as a prefix, and this of s of I, or s of j, sorry, s of j is acting as a suffix. Okay, prefix and suffix are nothing but, if there is a long string, we can take we can take a substring starting from the start, that will be called prefix, and similarly we can start from the end, and that part will call suffix. So so what observation I want to you guys to realize is that, we know that, right? Like, if I have a string sj, it is made of, let's say, character a b c d e. Okay, 4 5. Okay, now if I want to pair up with this one, if I want to pair up this with pair this string or ticket with some other ticket, that means what I can do, if it length is 5, we can add a ticket of length 5, right? We can add a ticket of length 5. In that scenario, let's say its sum was, or instead of, the better, instead of going from like going with abcd, let's consider some actual ticket number, 1 4. Okay, now the length is 5, right? If we want that this entire prefix can be used, or this entire 5 length will be on used as prefix. And yeah, one more condition, like in all the scenario, will be our entire string will become prefix plus suffix will become entire string, and none of them can be empty. Okay, for the time being. So now see, if we want this to be prefix, then we know that the length of our lucky ticket should be even, right? Then the remaining ticket length should be 5. Okay, should be 5. And we already know that the sum is 2 plus 3 5 plus 5 10 11 and 15, and whatever the value we have, its sum should be equal to 15, right? So now the question is, question can, for this particular scenario, if we consider this entire string or the entire s1 is as it is, then we know that we only have to know how many strings or how many tickets are there whose sum is 15 and length is 5. Okay, okay. So what we have understood from here is, like, if we want this to be a prefix, then we'll have to check how many numbers are there whose sum is 15 and length is 5. Okay, and yeah, so And one more important point I would like to bring over here is, let's say if I have chosen some ticket as 1 2 3 4 5 or 5 4, okay, and there was some another ticket 1 2 3, then also we can pair this up, and overall what will happen, the number will become 1 2 3 4 5 4 and 1 2 3. But here we will split the ticket in two halves in some this manner, or what we are doing is we are giving out one character, or one digit from this ith ticket to another ticket, some, let's say this was some jth ticket, right? So we are giving one ticket. So similarly what we can do is we can either give one ticket, or sorry, one digit as we have given in the above scenario, or we can give two digit, we can give three digit, we can give four digit. But in no scenario we'll be giving all the digits, right? Because if we are giving all the digits, that means, I mean, even though we are not going to give this many digits, because eventually we'll have to have some condition where we know that this should be n by 2 and this should be n by 2 if this whole length is n by 2. So if we are already giving, we are just having one, and we are just passing this on to the left, we know that at least there will be one digit. So eventually this will not be a lucky number, but let's say we can give one by one digits to the our right side or the prefix. So there are two possibilities for a ticket. So if I have a ticket s of ij, what can I do? I can do either this can become a prefix, this can become a prefix, or this can become a suffix. Now, important point to note over here is, if I am saying prefix, that doesn't mean that we'll be taking this entire ticket. What I'm saying is, if this ticket was 1 2 3 4 5 and this is a prefix, that means that we can take this entire ticket, but that means all, I mean, we can also just drop this 5 for the second half, or okay, so for the second half, or we can make a split such that this is the portion we'll be considering for prefix and this is later for the suffix. So what I am trying to say, or what I want you guys to visualize, is that if we have a string or we have a ticket number, we can just drop 1 2 3 4 till at least we can have one digit at max, or like, sorry, at least, or in any scenario we'll have to secure one digit, because if we are giving this, that means we have nothing on the left side, right? Nothing on the left side, then it's some zero, and we know that sum cannot be zero because the digits will always be greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 9. So in this scenario we know that the length also becomes 0, which is not possible because we have to always evenly divide. So that's why we'll have at least one digit remaining in the left. But this was case when this was the scenario if we would have put this as a prefix. But same thing we can do as suffix as well. So like, taking the example, let's say if I have something like this, or it's better, so let's put this 593,746. So 594,376, or sorry, 93746. Just a second. 93746. Okay. So let's say if the ticket number is one ticket number is 5, one ticket number is 5, and another ticket number is this one. So now what we can do over here is we can take 5, this is as ith ticket and this is jth ticket. So first of all, what we'll do, I will just check if this s of I can be put down as it is and this number as it is 93746. No, we can't put down because in the left half we have just 5, or I am saying the left half, but ideally it should be left half, right? But here we are seeing that the length is 1, here length is not 1 or greater than 1. So our length itself doesn't match. But what I will do, I'll just take out one digit from our right side. So our string will become something like this, or in left side we'll have 59, in right side we'll have 3746. Okay, again the length is 2, here length is 4, so we don't care, or we can say that this cannot be a lucky ticket. Then next step, what we'll do, we'll have 593 on the left side, 746 on the left side. Okay, now the length is equal. We'll check for the sum. Its sum is 9 4 5 9 14 3 17. Here 7 4 11 and 6 17. Okay, so here what we got, by shifting some character of the jth ticket, by shifting some character of jth ticket to the left side, we have one scenario where the length is also divided equally in the left and right side, and the sum is also equal. Okay, so this meet all the R condition for lucky ticket. So we can simply increment our answer by 1. So from here, what we realize that we can have one boundary. Okay, right. Initially, we can have Si over here, and we have all the characters of Si in this side. Then eventually, we will start shifting one character. Okay, one character. Even if we'll shift everything, we won't have, I mean, we always check for, let's say what I want, or it's better, let's say its length was L1, and this side we are maintaining length L2. If we are removing one character from here, right, if we are removing one character here, so L1 dash will become L1 minus 1, right, L1 minus 1. And ideally L1 should be equal to L2, right, the length should, both side should be equal to, so L1 dash should be equal to L2 dash. Now if we'll see L1 minus 1, or we can write L1 dash as L1 minus 1, right, then L2 dash will become, yeah, L1 minus, sorry, no, okay, sorry, there is one thing I missed out. So so when we are saying that L1 dash should be equal to L2, right, okay, that's fine. Now this L2 dash, I know that if we have removed one from here, then this L2 dash would get that extra one on its plate or on its side, right? So L1 dash should be equal to L2 dash plus 1, and we know that L1 dash is nothing but L1 minus 1, and with this one we can shift this side. So L2 dash we can get something like this, that L1 minus this one minus this one. Okay, so okay, this is all the discussion, all the jargon, but how we are going to solve this? Okay, how we are going to solve this problem? So like, the reason for explaining this much is just to have an idea that we will have to shift some digits in both the side, but how we will actually do it, so what we'll do, we'll always have a partition. Okay, we'll always have a partition, that on the left side we have S of I, will slowly shift this one digit to the right, and at the same time if we have length L1 this side, we'll have to length L2 this side, and the moment we are removing anything, the new length will become L1 minus R, and the new length we saw over here will become L1 minus 2R, or sorry, the remaining length, what by the remaining length I am meaning to say is, let's say if we have something like this 1 2 3 4, right, then we will have to find something of 4 length, and this particular sum, let's say 10. Okay, but if we are shifting 4 to this side, then our new string on the left side would become 1 2 4 3, and on the 4 side we already have 4. So now we need to find a string only of length 2, right? Length should be 2, and the sum should be 6 only, because not 6 as well, sorry, it won't be 6, it will be, here in the left side we have 6, we already have 4 over here, so the remaining should also be, sum should equal be 2. Now we can have somehow, see, we know that for all the tickets we can have their sum, right? We have their fixed length is fixed for all the tickets, and we can have their sum, that will also be all, like, always be less than equal to 45, because we have 5 length at max, and both can be equal to 9, sorry, yeah. So in that scenario the maximum length will be 5. So we can simply store our d in a dp, that what will be the length and that sum, or basically we can simply store the count, like how many strings are there whose length is that particular length, and the sum is this particular sum. Once again I am repeating. So let's say what I'm saying is, if I have 1 2 3 on the left side, now I have two fill the right side. We know that in the left side I have three characters or three digits, and the sum is 10, right? And the sum is 10. So on the right side also we'll have to find a string such that its length is 3 and sum is 10. Okay, then in that scenario that answer will be simply stored in this 3 comma 10. Okay, but now let's say if I shifted 3 to this side, then it's in this scenario our string on the left side will remain 1 2, and that scenario it will become 3. So in left side our length is 2, sum is 3. In this scenario we know that the length is already 1, so we just need the remaining one length, and the sum should be, already we have 3 over here, so sum should be 0. Then in this scenario our answer can be added with this value. Sorry, this will be 1 because the length required is 1, and its sum should be equal to 0. Okay, so now the question is very straightforward. What we'll do, we'll make a dp, make a dp of 6, let's say 6 cross 6 cross, sum is 45, so we can make something like this. At max it should be 6, and it will be max 60 initialized to 0. Now for each ticket I equals to 0, I less than n, we can have I less than n, I plus plus, we can have its sum, or like dp of, first of all we'll calculate its length of, let's say I'm just writing vaguely, a bit vaguely. So dp of length of I, and then we will have sum of whatever the ticket, let's say v of I, and this should be plus plus because we are increasing its count. Now now what we'll do, so let's say if we are selecting the first ticket, right? First ticket, we already know that first of all this I can be taken as it is without giving any character, but that case will come later because that's a special case. So let's say what we can do, that we are always we are always maintaining the left side and the right side. So first of all we'll put this ith ticket, s of ith ticket on the left side, and we'll start giving one character line by line to the right side. Similarly, once that is done, we'll put this ith character as a prefix and shift one character line by line, or one character by character to the left side. Okay, and so let me explain. It will be much better if we'll see the code for here. So let's say what we'll do first of all, first of all we will start the loop, right? So we'll take one character or take one ticket number. Now first of all we created its length and created its sum. So what we are saying, let's say if I have s of I have created its sum, let's say 20, or it's better to write ticket as well. So if 1 2 4 5, ah 20 that was, uh, so let's make it 16 on itself. Okay, so length is 4 and it is 16. So what we'll do, we need ticket, we already discussed that. First of all, if we are removing one, then then the first character, because see, we always have concatenated, right? S of I plus s of j. That means if we are removing this one digit, then the first digit will always be 5, and then we will have the remaining ticket number, whatever this s of j. Now for this s of j, what we can do is, we know that initially its sum was 16 and length was 4, right? We are removing one character. That means what we can do is, we can simply will maintain two variables. One is how much sum we have removed and how many characters we have removed. So first of all what we'll do, we are removing the last character. Okay, so last character, that like if we take it as a string, this is the last character, so we are removing it. So we'll add its value to the removed sum, and we'll increment the count of removed characters by 1. Okay, now then in left side, so earlier in the left side we have len, right? We have length, or initially we have length characters. Now we have removed r characters, right? So in the left side we will have left characters remaining. Okay, similarly left sum will be total sum minus removed sum. Okay, now calculating the right side, we know that whatever the value we have on the left side must be equal to the value on the right side. That means if we'll see this equation over here, what we can say that the remaining right plus the removed ones, because that removed ones are shifted to right, right? It's a bit alliterated, but removed from the left side will be moved to the right side, right? So the remaining right plus this removed element should be equal to whatever we have remaining in the left, and that was stored in the left variable. So if we'll shift that removed element on the right side of this equation, then we will have remaining right as this one. Similarly, we can calculate the remaining sum, and we'll check if both are within the bounds, then only. And yeah, there was one more condition, that we have to check if the total length is even. So we know that on the left side we have left, and on the right side we have total, this one remaining right plus removed whatever we have removed from the left side. So if the length is even, then we can simply add or add the count of how many strings are there whose length is this remaining right and the sum is remaining right sum. Similarly we have done taking out characters from the starting. Okay, now there is one more thing we have remaining, or we have done, is that we have added this one. And what it represents, that if I am choosing s of I without removing anyone, so I mean there can be many s of j, right? But yes, and there is one scenario that here you can say that here we are taking at prefix and we might take it as suffix, right? S of j, sorry, s of j is here. Let's say this was s of j and this of s of I. So in there, like as here we were discussing that first s of I will be prefix, then s of I will be suffix, right? So but here if we'll put this as prefix and again at suffix, so when we'll considering, let's say it was ticket number 1 and it was ticket number 2, then it will become ticket number 1, sorry, it will become ticket number 2 and it will become ticket number 2. So here I was 1 and j was 2, right? But when we'll consider j, we'll consider, sorry, I is equals to 2, and for that scenario j will, j equal to 1 will also get paired. So here first of all the pair will become 2 and I, and then again it will become 1 and 2, because first of all 2 will become prefix and 2 will become suffix. So we are just getting our case repeated. Here also it was 1 2 and then 2 1, right? And here also it was 2 1 and 1 2. So overall if we are kind of repeating, the same numbers, same pairs. So what we are doing is we are just taking one of them as a prefix, or let's say a suffix, whatever you want to tell them. But once they are as a prefix, next time if whatever the suffix was, that will become the prefix, and the earlier number will become suffix. So eventually that the total number of exact pairs will be counted and there will be no repeated pairs. That's why we have this one. Okay, I hope this was a bit confusing, but I hope you would have gained much clarity and understood the problem. Let's try submitting this solution. And also, if you guys have any doubt, feel free to drop the comments in the comment section. I'll answer them as much as possible. It was a bit difficult for me. I was also missing one condition, the last condition I talked about during the contest as well. Okay, so it was saying that submitted same code earlier as well. And yeah, that's an AC solution. So let me know in the comment section if you guys have any doubts. Okay, thank you guys.